have a very special guest. His videos have been popping up for me every single day. I'm like, I don't know if this is just because I need some single advice, but welcome, Niko.
The problems that I see, because I do a lot of coaching, I work with hundreds of women at this point.
Do you believe there is a game in dating?
Game is understanding attraction. We hang out Friday, Saturday, and then we bang on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like, that only benefits guys. You don't need the horse that wins the Kentucky Derby. You just need a horse that's in the race. So it's like in the Derby, right?
Okay.
So we're not taking on a project. You're the most important person in his life, but you're not the most important thing in his life.
Explain the two.
The number one kiss of death for men is being too needy, doing too much.
Yeah.
And that's where the nice guys fall, like
Finish last.
every single time. And the things with the fuck boys, they don't do anything. Fortunately, the least is more attractive because you just met a guy. You don't know what his intentions are until you see consistent behavior over a period of time. From the jump, if you're super easygoing, ready to see him Friday, Saturday, Tuesday, whatever, it's like he'll just try to, go to Bangtown and then.
Yeah. What are signs that he's a fuckboy?
There are the fuckboys that are like the very obvious ones that like don't text a lot, like barely text one-word answers and are very like, what style
Flaky,
talk, flaky.
yeah.
There's that, but then there's also but sleeping with a guy on a first date, it's just
You run the risk.
You
for
run
sure.
the risks. Guys are extremely visual, so they're seeing what you're posting, and they're making an assumption of you, like really, really, really quick.
All bikini photos I have on my Instagram, gone tomorrow.
Gone.
Gone tomorrow.
Some people are like, well, I went on 3 dates, Friday, Saturday,
Right,
Tuesday,
right,
and then they sleep together the second week of knowing the person. It's not about the number of dates, it's about the time that you've known him. For example, like I make this analogy a lot.
You want to start communicating like, look, what are we? Should a girl initiate that or should that always come from a guy?
Woman needs to initiate it
Oh, yeah?
because
I want you to want me.
it sucks, but at the end of the day,
You're listening to the X Podcast. The X you keep coming back to.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to the X Podcast. We are here in New York, and I have a very special guest. You've probably seen him on Instagram Reels. His videos have been popping up for me every single day. I'm like, I don't know if this is just because I need some single advice, but welcome, Niko.
thanks for having me.
Oh my God,
Appreciate
I'm
it.
so happy you're here.
This is awesome.
So you have, basically all I see is the Daddy Academy.
The Daddy Academy.
The Daddy Academy. And I need to know first, before we start, you're giving all this advice. I was like, I need to know, is he single? Is he giving all this advice, but he can't take his own advice? Like, what's the vibe?
No, I have a girlfriend. Okay.
And when did you start giving advice?
So you want the whole origin story of the
I
Daddy Academy?
I want the Spark Notes version.
Okay, I guess. All right. So basically, back in like 2020 or whatever, during COVID, like I was, hitting the gym once the gyms reopened up, and I was, sending motivational Snapchats to my friends, trying to get them into working out again, right? Get into the gym. I don't know how.
You're that guy.
Yeah, like what?
Everyone's like, shut up, we're going through a pandemic. You're like,
You
keep
gotta
going.
hit the gym. And I was like, I would just send them. I don't know where the name came from, and I'm just like, this is the Daddy Academy, get to the gym, boys. And everyone was like, that's hilarious. That's the funniest name ever. And I'm like, it is kind of like a funny name.
Like, maybe I got something
I got something here, right?
Yeah.
And I guess I've always been that guy who helps my friends with dating. I've helped my little sister with dating, her friends. So like, I've always been really good in that space, right?
Yeah.
So then the last year, about a year and a half ago, I'm like, you know what? I want to start a page. I want to help people. I want to motivate people. I want to have fun, right? Because I'm always just spreading positivity and good vibes. And I'm like, what should I name this page? Just Niko? I'm like, nah.
Doesn't ring.
I mean, it's a good name. I like my name.
Yeah, that's not what I meant.
I have a good name. But I'm
You
like,
do.
the Daddy Academy, I'm like, why not just go for it and just name it something like fun and playful and just like see how it does. So I named it the Daddy Academy, and I started posting content, and like for like 8 months, barely, at like 2,000.
Was this during COVID?
No, so now this is January 2023,
Hey.
January 23.
It's recent.
Very recent. And about a year ago, last October, so I was posting for like 8 months, 9 months, and last October, so I was posting for like 8 months, 9 months, and like nothing really happened. 2,000 followers or whatever.
Yeah.
And then because I was only talking to guys. I was talking to guys, dating advice, fitness advice. I wasn't really doing anything. I mean, I don't know why. I'm like,
what like guy advice were you giving?
Like more like fitness, lifestyle, motivation, and that type of thing. Yeah. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make a video, kind of talking to women about guys. So I made a video about what it means to have daddy energy.
Okay.
And that video went like viral. I got like 30,000 followers overnight.
Wait, what was it about?
What it means to have daddy energy?
Yeah. What is
Do you want to know what it means?
Yes.
So like, so getting right into it.
I mean, I have an idea, but like,
I think so. Daddy energy is really like
a daddy.
it's a daddy.
It's a daddy.
No, it's a guy who is obviously about his purpose, like healthy masculine energy, and he's about spreading love and positivity and using that, his own journey that he's been on and looking to just like spread that good vibes with the people. Like a lot of like alpha male messaging online right now, like what it means to be an alpha male. I think the way that a lot of young men sort of resonate with it is that it means like solo, like lone wolf, like doing my own thing, and like selfish mindset. When really healthy masculine is more of like provider, protector, good positive energy. So like that's more or less what, like, in my opinion, daddy energy is as a whole. Like I always say, like Pedro Pascal, why do people call him the daddy of the internet? Because he's just like a guy that when you see him through the screen, you're like, this is a guy I could be friends with. Like this is like a warm, inviting, fun, loving guy. Like Jason Momoa is maybe like another person I would say.
And I feel like most women, that's what we want. We want that protector energy, you know?
Right. But also like fun, doesn't take himself too seriously. Like there's like that fine line of like
in between.
Right. Where he is like about his purpose and success and whatnot, but he's also like the life of the party, like doesn't take shit too seriously, can have a good time, and is like, it's just that vibe. And
sure.
And I think like, I mean, I know that's what most women want. So that's like kind of what I'm preaching for young men, because it's also like tapping into your authenticity as a man, because like a lot of guys might see somebody like I don't know, like Andrew Tate, for example, and be like,
I was going to ask you what your stance is.
Yeah. So it's like, you might look at him and be like, that's alpha male. He's tough. He makes a lot of money. He gets the girls, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, and a lot of women like that guy. But as a whole, that's not really what your average woman is after.
Right. We're also talking about the 1%
Not
of
even. Like
not
point,
even.
0.1% of guys. Like you're not a multi-millionaire, like all that shit. So it's like, figure out who you are, and that like on my own sort of journey, and that's why I feel like I've been able to kind of give this advice, because when I was younger, I wasn't like the ladies' man. 30, about to be 31 actually in October. I wasn't like super ladies' man. Like I was a one-class clown in high school. Okay. So that was like my big claim to fame. And I've always been like had a good personality, charismatic, and like into sports, and I'm a musician. I play and sing in a band, stuff like that. But when I was younger, like in high school, I wasn't like the guy getting all the girls. And so like when I got to college, I'm like, what am I doing here? And I kind of went on
you studied it.
I did
study the system.
I studied,
and then you scammed the system.
More or less. No, so like I started looking at what I was doing wrong and applying it, and kind of just figuring out like, what is this, like the game? Everyone talks about like, oh, what's the game?
Yeah.
It's the.
Do you believe there is a game in dating?
Game is understanding attraction.
Okay.
That's then there's games. So if you're playing games, you're using that understanding to manipulate and get a desired outcome that might not be beneficial for both people.
Do you think that games are a good thing?
I think understanding game is a good thing. I think games overall are not a good thing. But if you have to implement a little trick here and there to kind of swing things back in your favor, if you feel like things kind of got shooken up.
Give me an example.
So like,
you're talking to a guy, like I'm talking to a guy, right?
Yeah.
And I want to be taken serious, but like we're at the beginning stage. He likes me. We're going out.
Okay. So, all right. So I guess let's get into how I preach women should behave in the early stages of dating.
Yes.
Okay. The problems that I see, because I do a lot of coaching, I work with hundreds of women at this point.
Oh my God,
right?
I can't imagine.
It's insane. And plus all the DMs and shit that
I'm
I've
talking
answered.
to this guy. Niko, help me. What do I do?
You have no idea. So
wait, sorry. Before we get into it, do you think that, do you agree with the saying, like, if you're confused, it's because he doesn't want you?
you would never be confused with a guy
Thank
who
you.
is pursuing you to like with intention to.
So
potentially be
ladies,
with
if you are confused, like, what does this mean? What are we? It's because truthfully, he's not 100% in.
Confusion, you should never.
You should
Confusion
never
is
be
not
confused.
Confusion is not an emotion you should be feeling.
Thank you. Okay.
Not at all.
Okay.
So what I preach, like for women, as far as how y'all should kind of go about the early stages of dating, is I say 1 date per week for the first month. Okay.
Okay.
Because when you meet a guy or person, whatever, who you have chemistry with, attraction to, you're gonna be more likely to want to see and talk to them more. It's like human nature.
Sure.
We build a connection and we want to like
For
act
sure.
on that connection. But the problem with that sort of fast-paced speed, where it's like we go on a date Friday and then Saturday and then Tuesday, and
Because
then,
I've had guys who do that. They're like, "And what are you doing tomorrow?" And I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! Don't make me hate you so soon.
Yes,
like,
well,
let's chill."
so that's another side of it.
Let's create the like. And I think because men don't realize this, but I think a lot of women think, "Oh, when I fuck him, like maybe it's gonna work out." But men don't choose that they want to be with a woman based on sex. For them, distance is what makes them realize I want to be with this girl.
Yeah, it's over time.
Yeah.
It's building that connection over time. So that's why I'm saying a fast-paced, we hang out Friday, Saturday, and then we bang on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like that only benefits guys. Like that speed, unless you met your soulmate, which it's like when
Okay.
people hear that and go, well, maybe this guy is the soulmate.
Oh,
No,
no.
stop. He's probably not your soulmate. So, and if he is your soulmate, he wouldn't mind going a little slower.
Yeah.
Right? Like, wouldn't he not mind taking things a little slower
For
if this
sure.
guy is meant to be your husband one
Yeah.
day? So 1 date per week for the first month and consistent communication. You want to see a guy that's reaching out and talking to you consistently, setting those dates and you know, being proactive when it comes to planning to see you, talking to you.
Yeah.
And like you should always know when you're going to see him next. Okay? So for the first,
Do you think it needs to be planned like while you're on the date, or could it be like after?
it could be a day or two after,
Okay.
but it shouldn't be that much more than a day or two after.
Okay.
Like, let's say, like, go out on a Friday night, have a great time. By the end of the date, he should say something like, "Oh, I'd love to do this again." You would say, "Oh, me too." You leave. You text him, ladies. You should always text a guy after the date if you had if you had a great time. Text him thanking you. "I had an amazing time. Thank you again," or whatever.
Really?
100%.
Okay. Mother, have you ever taken Joy Mode?
No, I have not.
Well, Joy Mode is a sexual boost performance, and I know this is weird that we're having this conversation right now, but you just came from a workout, didn't you?
I certainly did.
Imagine I told you there was a product you could take that will enhance that'll make your blood flow even quicker, even better, have those cells moving around. Would you take it? If it was 100% natural, because we know you're all about natural.
All natural for sure.
Read the ingredients in the back.
The only reason it looks good to me, vitamin and natural flavors. Okay, so let's give it a try.
Let's go. There's your water.
Here's my glass of water with ice. Let's tear this package up here.
How do you feel being an influencer right now?
Right now, I feel like I'm experimenting with this. Do we put the whole package in?
Yes.
The whole package goes
And guys, you take this 45 minutes to 5 hours before a workout. Obviously, if you want the workout to be the best, take it 45 minutes before, you know, any kind of workout. And trust in Joy
Give it a
Mode.
stir.
Yeah, take a fork to stir it. You're really aesthetic, Mom.
Absolutely. It's like a whisk. Okay, the ice looks very appealing. What do you say? Let's give it a try. Actually, it's got like a little bit of a lemony taste. It tastes good.
Use my discount code X the podcast at checkout for 20% off Joy Mode.
Nice and cold. Tastes refreshing.
Text him thanking you. "I had an amazing time. Thank you again," or whatever.
Really?
100%. That is like, men would find that rude if you don't.
Oh, really?
Yes. I think it's a really classy move to do that if you had a good time.
Yeah.
But you don't have to say, I can't wait to see you again. Just say, hey, I just want to thanks again. I'm home. Thanks again for such a fun time. Smiley face.
Okay.
And then he'll say whatever. Maybe don't talk to him for a day, but within a day or two after that, so by Sunday...
You better not say girl message.
No.
Okay.
He messages.
Okay.
So by Sunday, Monday, he should reach back out to you again, a little small talk, and then say, hey, what are you doing? What's your schedule looking like this week?
Right.
Or this weekend, right?
Right.
Plans that second date. Through the week, little chit-chat.
Okay, I was going to ask you the speed of texting, because for me, I don't want a guy after we go on one date to start messaging me
Hell
every
no.
day.
Little
Like,
chit-chat.
Little chit-chat, like, what, 2-3 times a week?
I would
Checking
say
in
like...
on you.
Okay, so let's say
we plan a date on Saturday and it's like Tuesday now.
for next Saturday. Now it's
Yes.
Tuesday.
Yes.
So we plan the date on Tuesday for this Saturday coming up. I would say what I recommend guys to do is to say something like perfect, we'll go out Saturday. I'm going to text you Thursday night with all the plans.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, so you're not going to hear from me Wednesday, but I told you you're not going to hear from me Wednesday
Right.
or Thursday during the day because I told you I'm talking to you on Thursday night. So then when I text you Thursday night with the location, like we'll be here at 7:30, whatever, that follow-up of words, actions aligning actually creates like a trust from in women. Like oh wow, he said he was going to do something and he did
followed
it,
up.
followed through. Right?
Right.
So then like we talk Thursday night, maybe chat a little bit on Friday, and then Saturday before 1 p.m. he should confirm we're going out. Hey, you still good for tonight?
I agree. I'm not fucking doing my makeup and everything, and I'm there like, because I've been in that situation before where I think every girl's been through that once where they're like, should I start getting ready? Like, I don't know. I haven't heard from him. And it's like, you should never put a girl through that.
If he doesn't confirm by like 1 p.m., I would say like just scrap it.
Yeah.
Yeah, assume it's not happening.
It's
or just don't go.
disrespectful, yeah.
It is disrespectful. Honestly.
It is. So what would you say is the biggest problem with dating in 2024?
Oh, all the
Like,
options.
all the options,
Yeah,
for sure.
it's all the options. Social media has ruined dating.
Yeah.
It's
But do you think it's like, okay, I always look at things both ways.
Yep.
Like, I think there's a lot of good things that come with social media, but in terms of dating, it is fucking wild. If we look back to like our parents,
Oh yeah, it's like not
You know,
even. It's night and day.
even my mom at a point, she was like, I don't know how you guys do it. Like, it's crazy. I can't imagine how I would be in this day and age.
Well, it's just everybody knows that they have all these options.
Yeah.
And the problem is actually, I think a lot of people think they have more options than they do.
Yeah.
I think there's some people with like this confidence that I'm like,
No.
bravo. It's like, I don't know where this is fucking coming from. I'm like, I had to build myself to feel confident.
no.
I'm like, you're that confident? You're bozo. And you're fucking this confident? I'm like, all right, dude. All right.
Lulu till it's Trululu.
Yeah, but it goes for both sides.
I think you also have to know like where you stand. I think a lot of
I
people
agree.
also want everything. Like I know that whole like song, Trust Fund 6'5". It's a
Yep.
joke, but it's not really. Like I think a lot of people are looking for everything. The finances, the height, and it's like something's got to give sometimes.
So what I say a lot is you don't need the horse that wins the Kentucky Derby. You just need a horse that's in the race. So it's like
Okay.
in the Derby, right? So we're
Okay.
not taking on a project. So I do not recommend ever taking on a project. Okay, a guy needs to have a vision.
Why? I love a good project.
That's
No,
fucking
just
horrible.
kidding.
A guy needs to have like a drive and a purpose and a passion in his life that he's working towards. Okay. Obviously there's a lot of guys out there who are like have a 9 to 5 and they love and they're cool with it and whatever. But I personally believe that even if he just has that 9 to 5, he needs a passion that he's working towards, even as like a side hustle, something that like really
Fuels
gets him up in the
fuels-
morning.
yeah.
Yeah. Because without that, guys tend to like kind of flounder around, and that could be like the gym.
Yeah.
Like maybe the guy, he has a 9 to 5, it's a cool job, he likes it, he's not obsessed with it, but he's like passionate about the gym. Cool, love that. He has a thing. A guy needs a thing.
It's so true. I feel like if they don't have that thing, they're going to be really insecure in the relationship, and they're probably going to end up cheating on you just because they're so insecure of who they are.
Well, what ends up happening in those situations is the guy, his purpose becomes his girlfriend or his wife.
I
and
literally
then,
could die.
And
I
then,
could die.
And then over time, that starts to become unattractive to you guys because it's like, well, he's not really doing anything.
Yeah.
What is this guy doing? Where are we going? Where is this going?
And
Like,
I think women naturally will always test a man, and we don't even know
Yeah,
sometimes we're
it's
doing it. You
natural.
know, like, babe, don't go to the gym, stay with me. And it's like, if you don't go to the gym,
Right.
we don't respect, like,
Right.
tell us no.
yes.
You know, because we will test.
Yeah,
we
right.
will test, and like, you don't fail.
Right.
Like, you have to like have your own life, and then I have to have my own life, and then together we have a life together.
Yes.
You know, like,
Totally.
I think a lot of people will say, like, even my friends are like, yeah, I know you say that, but like, I want a guy who's obsessed with me. I'm like,
Everyone
yes!
says that, but it's like,
But,
yes.
like-
Okay. You, and this is like, I say this a lot. You're the most important person in his life, but you're not the most important thing in his life.
Explain the two.
The most important thing in his life should be his passion, what he's working towards. It could be his job. It might be a side job. Some whatever that is, that's the most important thing in his life. You are the most important person in his life. They're not the same thing, and you're not competing with that. The second you compete with that,
Yes.
with a high value guy, I hate using that word, but like
I know it's so like, but
whatever.
like, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? With a guy who's like actually has a vision, and like if you start to get in the way of that, he's gonna break up with you.
For sure.
Or it will naturally start to dissolve the relationship over
Yeah.
time, because like maybe he's a good guy and isn't that cutthroat as far as like, I'm gonna cut this girl off because
Yeah.
she's whatever. But over time, he's gonna start resenting you if you're trying to make his life all about you,
yeah.
because it needs to be about him and what he's doing.
For him to show up amazing in the relationship,
Right.
he has to have those things going on.
Has to.
You don't want him to get rid of those things, because then if he's gonna be
Then
all
who is
about,
he?
Who is
Then
he?
who is he?
Yeah,
If-
no, for sure.
Who is he?
For sure.
If when you met him, he had all this cool shit going on, you make him stop doing that stuff, even if like it's like you take 30% of the time away from that.
See, I don't even like that. Like, you make him, like, if you're able to make him do that, I don't want that.
Right,
like,
right.
You should be able to cut me off right away if like I have that effect, and I could do that. You
Right,
know?
but a lot of guys, like, there are more, and we're talking about nicer guys, right? Guys who want to
Yeah.
be in a relationship, not fuck boys. Totally different situation.
Yeah. Okay, but wait, nice guys. Okay, wait, before we move on to
All
what
right.
you're going to say, nice guys, I think that a lot of girls say, oh, it's just like, I like the toxic, or like, I just don't like really like a nice guy. And I think most girls do like a nice guy. They just don't like the nice guy that they're not attracted to.
So the quote unquote nice guy,
yeah.
they are guys who don't understand attraction. They don't understand the game. Okay, I would say.
Okay, but wait, let's say, okay,
Okay.
for example, me, okay?
Sure.
Yes, maybe I'm at a stage where I do want a nice guy, but having a nice guy, like, I think every girl is okay with a nice guy as long as they're sexually attracted to. I think a lot of people say
Yes.
they don't want the nice guy, but it's because already from the start they're not attracted.
Because their behavior isn't attractive. They could visually be attractive, but
But if he's
But-
nice, but I'm attracted to you, the
no,
nice
because
guy works.
because a super attractive guy, you would still get turned off.
I don't think so.
If he
I
was
don't
super
know.
needy up your ass,
Okay, needy,
all
yes.
the day, like every day, like good morning. You're getting good morning, beautiful, my sweet sunshine princess. What if he texts you that every single morning? You start to get like, why the fuck is this guy like sending me these weird? Like that's what happens with a lot of nice guys. They don't understand
the game.
the game of just giving the proper amount of space. The number one kiss of death for men is being too needy, doing too much.
Yeah.
And that's where the nice guys fall, like
Finish last.
every single time, because they do too much. And the things with the fuck boys, they don't do anything.
Yeah.
So when it comes, if you look at both doing like the most versus doing the least, unfortunately, the least is more attractive because it conveys what we were just talking about. He must be super busy and cool with all this good stuff going on. And that's the subconscious thought that starts to get into your brains. That's like, well, I want to be a part of that cool life because obviously it's
Seems
cool.
so unattainable that
Seems
you
so
want
unattainable
it.
because we all want stuff that we can't have.
And it's just,
You know,
It is
but
what it is.
as a nice guy, all you need to do is learn the texting cadence of like what I explained, like what I said to you earlier, as far as like a little communication, but being direct with the communication. That's perfect. Like
Yeah.
less is more in the early stages when it comes to texting, because you could ruin something super quick by over texting. If you
Yeah.
over text as a man early on, like you'll ruin it super quickly if you're after something serious. But then there's the love bombing side of it, which is like, that's a totally different story.
Yeah.
But
Have you ever love bombed someone?
no, I'm not like that. I've never done stuff like that.
Okay. And like, what advice have you given to? What's like the most asked question from women?
It's so hard. It's so hard to say because every situation,
It's
every situation.
situational?
It's funny because every situation is like very nuanced, but like it's all kind of the same
Yeah.
thing at the end of the day. Like
If they're messaging you already, it's like, okay.
well, that's what like
They're in the confused stage, which is like,
Well, a lot of times I'll say, well, you're messaging me, so clearly, like your intuition is telling you something's not right.
right.
And I say that a lot. Like trust your intuition. Like
Yeah.
really trust your intuition because it's typically telling you the truth.
Yeah.
It really is more
Yeah.
times than not, for
You
sure.
speak about don't be the McDonald's, be the Nobu.
Yeah.
And I want to get into that
All
because
right.
I love that saying.
All right, yeah. So okay, this kind of weaves into love bombing and that sort of fast paced from the start tempo that I was talking about.
Yeah.
So McDonald's.
Yeah.
Do you like McDonald's?
I love McDonald's.
I love McDonald's too, right? And I know that I can get McDonald's every single night if I want to. I still love it. I can get it every night. It's not special.
And you start to feel sick after a while.
You start to feel sick after a while too, right? You start to feel a little
Yeah.
nasty. So I'm like, so guys will be like, love it. I can get it whenever I want. But I don't like really respect McDonald's.
Yeah.
Right? Nobu, if I know that, okay, I can only go to Nobu Saturday night, I got to make that reservation. If I want Nobu, I got to make that reservation.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm taking that really seriously. He respects Nobu, and that is like a very important date for him. Like
Yes.
to go to Nobu, right?
Yes.
So what I say is like
spending more on it.
spending more on it. It's you're giving it all your time, your attention, your focus is on that date. So that's what I say about
Dating.
Dating. It's like you don't want to be the girl who's ready. I'm here. Oh, what are we doing tonight? Oh, I'm
Or
free.
so easygoing
So
that it's
easygoing. Like go with the flow. I go with being a go with the flow girl. Kiss to death.
Honestly, that's a really good take.
Yep.
We should talk about that.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of times we do want to be that girl who's like chill and easy, but
Be chill and easy after you've seen for a month and a half that he's
The consistency.
boom, like really setting up date, consistent with his communication. You feel really good. At that point, you could be a little bit more easygoing.
Yeah.
But from day one, if you're easygoing, a guy, because you don't know his intentions yet. Remember,
Right.
you just met a guy. You don't know what his intentions are until you see consistent behavior over a period of time.
Right.
So from the jump, if you're super easygoing, ready to see him Friday, Saturday, Tuesday, whatever, it's like, let's say his intentions are not the greatest, or he's just kind of a guy who's casually dating, but you haven't really gotten to that conversation yet. He'll just try to, go to Bangtown and then
yeah. What
move
are
on.
Yeah. What are signs that he's a fuckboy? Like, can you give me like a list quickly of like
It's hard to say because there are the fuckboys that are like the very obvious ones that like don't text a lot, like barely text, one word answers and are very like, you know what style I'm talking. Flaky.
yeah.
There's that. But then there's also like
the love bombing?
the love bomb fuckboy and then like the kind, gentle fuckboy. Like they come in all,
That's the worst one, I think.
yes, because that's the one you don't see coming at all.
Yeah.
But they come in all shapes and sizes. Honestly, they do. So it's giving like signs of like what to look out for. It's like, yeah, love bombing, obviously, inconsistencies between the texting and the words and actions not aligning.
Yeah.
Like those are truly the biggest things. Like men are very like
Simple,
we're very
honestly.
simple, but the problem is like women typically are allowing themselves to get wrapped up in these situations because of like more of like a fast-paced tempo, and that affects you guys like a lot, and it doesn't affect guys at all. Like we don't get more hooked to you because we hung out 3 days in a row and we slept together. Like that doesn't hook. That I'm not hooked because of that. I probably really like you,
Yeah.
and I want to keep seeing you potentially, or maybe I decided I just wanted to hook up with her and move on, slowly ghost and move on.
Yeah.
Because if we hook up after the first week, like there better be a super strong connection there, or he's just gonna pull back, place you on like, I'll see her once every 2
But like
weeks.
still put in a little bit of work because he wants to know if he wants to hit again.
Breadcrumbing. And he kind of keeps you at that once every 2 weeks spot. And he'll just like place you right there. And maybe he'll start calling you a little bit. You won't hear from him from 2-3 days. Then he'll call you. Oh, he called me.
Right.
Oh my God,
right.
he called me.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, I guess we're going well. And then he'll set a
But really
date.
what he's doing is trying to see if he still can hit and you're still there.
Guys, now we're talking about like the real fuck boys roster guys. Like
Yes.
this is another category.
Yeah.
Okay. And these are the ones that you have to look out for, obviously. But it's like they're conquering. It's like they want to try to get as many women that are obsessed with them as possible.
I hate those guys.
They'll have like the 3 to 5 that they see pretty consistently.
Okay.
And then there'll be like 10 other girls who he'll just be talking to. Like so many people say to me, it's like, why is he messaging me on Instagram, but like he's not setting up a date? Because you're just the validation girl. You're just feeding his ego, and then he's going out with his top 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
But like you're just like the ego girl that maybe on a rainy Sunday he'll set up a date with you. And then you'll go out with him. And then because he's had you on the hook with this breadcrumbing of liking your Instagram stories and shit for like 3 months, you're going to be so excited to go out. You might be more likely to sleep with him on the first date or maybe a second date. And then now you're hooked. Now you're even more hooked.
Right.
And it's just building this. It's like, that's the game. That's
So what are your thoughts on someone sleeping on a first date?
There's plenty of people who do that. And there's plenty of people who get married to people who they slept with on the first date. That's not the problem. I think it's from a woman's side, it's a risk. It's like you're risking
Losing him
because you just don't know the situation yet.
Right.
But it's not a problem if like afterwards he sets up another date and it goes great. Sets up another date. So it's like only time will give you those answers.
Yeah.
But sleeping with a guy on a first date, it's just
you run the risk.
You
for
run
sure.
the risk. That's really it. It's not a guarantee that it's not going to work out, because if the chemistry was that electric and the sexual chemistry felt like it was, it's not
going to be the end all be all.
It's not going to be the end all be all, but you kind of have to. It's a case by case thing. Like you need to determine like.
But as a guy, are you thinking, does she do this often? Like, I want to know the
Okay,
insides of a brain.
now we're getting into it. A guy. Do you ever? I think like Tinks has like the bucket theory, or no, I call it the bucket theory, the box theory.
What's the box theory?
I think Tinks calls it the box theory. I start calling it the bucket theory. I don't know what I call it the bucket. But
okay, Daddy,
it's like,
you gotta be.
It's when a guy meets you, he immediately puts you into, are you a
in
girlfriend?
one of the 3
Are you
boxes.
a girlfriend? Are you just a hookup? Are you like maybe something in between?
Okay.
And that's like, I think that's like extremely, extremely true. There's cases where you can kind of shift over, and like once you meet a guy, like the first date, like, cause maybe he'll be looking at your Instagram and he'll kind of have an idea of you, or your Tinder profile, and he has like an idea of you. But when he meets you within like a half an hour, he has like a pretty solid idea of like
whether or not he would take you serious, or
kind
he
of
would just want to fuck, or
kind of. Also, it's like men are very visual, and this is why like I talk about some of my videos. I talk about like your social media presence, what your dating app profiles look like, and I don't think you should ever cater anything to what a guy wants, obviously, but it is something to kind of just keep in mind, because guys are extremely visual, so they're seeing what you're posting and they're making an assumption of you really quick, like really, really, really quick.
All bikini photos I have on my Instagram gone tomorrow.
Gone
tomorrow.
No, because it's like, because there's a way to do things in like, I say the vibe you want to be is sexy, wholesome.
Yeah.
Men want sexy, wholesome.
They want to be able to go on your page and still see that if they take you home to mom and dad, you know what a pair of jeans and a simple tee is.
Yes.
You know, if they don't see that and they only see like crazy outfits, they're like, I can't take this girl home.
Right. And a guy doesn't want to see a page that looks like it's catered to men. So it's still showing off that, like, you know, you're sexy, you're fun, your interests, but doing it in a way that is wholesome, that Like that's what guys are really looking for, and like
Yeah.
off the bat, like that would make a guy be like, "Oh, wow, she seems
Yeah.
like a sweet girl." There's a picture with her grandpa and blah blah blah.
Okay,
Like,
she's family oriented.
right. So that's like good
like
stuff.
They need that. Yeah.
But then it's just like it's just a vibe a guy will get on a date. Just like women, like you get reads off guys,
Yeah.
and it's just you can't really explain
for sure.
what it is, but like a guy, like meet you, and then he'll just kind of in his mind just kind of has an idea
Yeah.
of the type of person you are.
Yeah.
Just before even really getting to know you. But that's first impressions.
For sure. My girlfriend asked me a question. She's like, what do you think like men are doing wrong in the dating stage? I was like, well, I think they always like try and run before walking, and they over sexualize women. I don't think you guys do it purposely, but like when you guys see a girl, I don't know if this is every guy, but it's more like your first initial thing is like seeing them naked, like your visual, like it's very. So it's like sometimes it's hard for you guys to see like, oh, maybe I'll actually like vibe with this girl because you guys think sexually very early on.
I agree, but I think it's just like a vibe that like you get when you're with somebody. Like it's that chemistry. It's like when you meet somebody and you just kind of like know like this feels like someone who I could take home to my mom.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Versus not.
Right. And so okay, we're on a date, right?
Right.
And how should a girl act? How should a guy act on a date? Let's say we're going for dinner. Like, should a girl be touchy-feely? Should what's the kind of rules?
So my rules, I guess my rules for women is you want to do like less talking. Let him qualify himself to you more than you qualifying yourself to him, because like
so it's a job interview and you're seeing
it's not a job interview. So I want you to be authentically yourself. You have to be, right? Because it's like if you're not being yourself, then it's like you don't know.
You're gonna be in this relationship, and 6 months later he's gonna be like, I'm with a monster.
Right. You don't know if you're right. You have to figure out if there's chemistry, right? So you have to be yourself. But I would say don't read the whole book on the first date, right? So don't just start reading him the book of your life and telling him all these things about you. Let him ask the questions and then give him the information as he asks them. Because if he gets because there's some women who go on a date and just blah, 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 just tell your whole life story, right? And if he's just sitting there acting cool, like if you and I are sitting here and you sit and you just blah, 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 blah to me for an hour, and I'm just sitting here like smiling, looking at you, who's gaming who?
Right.
You just gamed me for 2 hours. And you know nothing about me. I'm still mysterious. I know everything about you. You just talked my ear off. You gave me an ear beating for 2 hours.
Right.
I know you're obsessed with me because you just fucking didn't shut up for 2 hours.
Right.
So now I could choose what I want to do from here because I'm in the power seat because you gave up so much validation to me by talking too much. So it's like you want to, as the woman, sit back a little bit and let him start to kind of inquire about you and just kind of keep that a little like mysterious, but still being yourself.
Do you think that a woman should ask like the same amount of questions back to show interest?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I mean,
what do you think the flow should be?
It's a flow of a conversation, right? Feel it out. It's going to be different for everyone. Every date's different, right? The connection with somebody's different, but just as a rule, I just like would say to women, just like do like 20-30% less.
Take it down a notch.
Take it down a notch, at least to start. And then as the date's going on, you're sitting there talking, have a drink or two, like then it can start to open up a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to like the touching and stuff like that, if it naturally feels appropriate to get a little closer and kind of like touch hands, like that's totally fine. I actually think that's a good thing, because if you're showing on a first date that there is a physical like connection happening, that's great. That's what you want.
I think women should initiate that.
I think so women. So what I would say to guys is she will show you that she wants the hand touch or like the touch on the leg to like kind of get closer.
We're girls, we're calculated. I think a lot of people forget that what's that saying? Like, we'll drop the napkin so a guy can pick it up and be like, oh, you dropped this. Like, we will set everything in place for you to believe you started the conversation.
Yes.
But we planned everything.
Yes. So
it's like you can't, like, women are smart. If we want something, we will get it, and we'll know how to manipulate the situation into making you feel like the man, even though we fucking set up the whole thing.
Yes. So the guys that are good at this understand that and are like a step ahead. So I was sitting here like, so that's why like the nice guys have such problems when they go out because like they just don't get a lot of this stuff where the fuck boys tend to understand this stuff.
Yeah, and they just get
so they
right
get
into
it. So they get it. So like I guess it's being really aware of like social dynamics and reading body language really well, reading eye contact really well, and just being able to kind of like, and it takes time to get good at that. Like not every guy is naturally good with that. Like, I don't think I wasn't naturally good with that. Like it took time for me to get good at that. And that's like a man's sort of self-help dating journey is like learning attraction, like what behaviors are attractive. How can because there's two different, I could show up being exactly myself and it could come off as more unattractive versus a more attractive version of myself. It's the same version of yourself, but it's just understanding for like a first date, for example, like how to present yourself in a way, like how are you sitting? What's your body? Are you leaning forward? Are you sitting back? Are you making eye contact? Are you really making eye contact? And like ladies, I think you should drill a guy with eye contact.
Ooh, I love
this. Like drill him with fucking eye contact.
I love this. Because make him feel so awkward he has to look away.
Make him feel awkward, and it's also like that's like
I hate that, by the way. If I go on a date and like I'm giving eye contact and I see him looking away, I'm like, ooh.
No, you got to give
I'm like, no.
Eye contact, and because eye contact is sensual. It starts to build that.
Also, it's like I'm looking into your soul.
Right, but
like,
it starts to build that, I guess you would call it like sexual tension.
Yeah.
But you don't have to act on it, right? So like on the end of a first date, a guy will know if you're looking at each other a little touchy and then you don't go home with him. He still knows, all right, there's something here.
Yeah.
And that mystery of wanting to know more is what keeps him then pursuing.
Yes.
So it's like, that's the game.
Yeah.
Is like making him want to know more, want to read more of the book and to keep coming back.
Right.
So if you sleep with him on the first date, like I said, it's not like
end all.
It's not the end all.
But if you really like him, then you should hold off.
You should hold. What I say is like, okay, we're adults here, right?
Yeah.
There's some people who are like, I'm waiting until marriage. I'm like, well, I don't know how many guys are going to do that.
Yeah.
You know, so if we're being realistic here, I say it's like, if we're doing one date per month, one date per week for the first month, so that's at least 3 to 4 dates after knowing them for a month. I think between dates like 5, 6, 7-ish feels appropriate.
To have sex.
Yeah, after a month. So after a month, that's the key. Because some people are like, well, I went on 3 dates, Friday, Saturday, Tuesday, and then they sleep together the second week of knowing the person.
I think in their mind they're just like, this is a story that makes more sense. I don't sound as easy, so it's like he put in the work. He did 3 dates, but it's not about.
It's about the time.
That's interesting.
It's not. It's actually that's a good point. It's not about the number of dates. It's about the time that you've known him, and and him showing up consistent over that time. Like for example, like I make this analogy a lot. About like the time and access that you would give to somebody you just met versus someone you've known for a while. So I say, let's take relationships out of it. Let's talk about it platonically, right? Your best friend in the world, right? What's her name?
Stephanie.
Stephanie, right? Would you do anything for Stephanie?
Yeah.
If she was like, hey, if she called you at like Thursday at 8:00 at night, hey, I'm having such a horrible day. Can you come over and can you just watch a movie and have fun? I need to talk to you about something. You'd be there in a heartbeat.
For sure.
Right? So why do you feel like you would do that for her? Because why?
Because we created like such a good bond. We're like best friends.
Over time.
And I learned to trust her.
Right. So with that person, you will do anything for, and it's justified, right?
Right.
So let's say, imagine you just met somebody at the gym, like a girl at the gym. She's working out. You're working out next to her. Hey, what's going on? And you guys hit it off. Like, oh wow, this girl's really cool. Like, I think we'd be friends, right? What if she started calling you every night, saying, "Hey, do you want to go out?" The first time you might be like, "Oh yeah," you go out, and then she calls you, and then she calls you the next day. Hey, do you want to go out again? You would start to get like, this is a little bit of a weird situation. I like this girl. She's cool. Like, I want to keep hanging out with her, but like, this is kind of too much. This is a bit much.
Right.
So that's like, but when you're attracted to somebody and there's chemistry, you kind of lose that veil of like understanding that that's weird to be doing.
Right.
So you have to kind of take a step back and look at it like, for the amount that I've known this person, should I be spending this much time with this person? Should I be giving them access to me sexually with a lot of communication, like phone calls? Like, should I be giving that to somebody I've only known for like a week and a half?
Yeah, no.
No, it takes time to be able to
build
give somebody
that.
that.
Yeah.
So that's why I say it takes at least a month to have a good understanding of how somebody operates. By 3 months, you know enough whether it's like, all right, I would be in a relationship with this person.
Yeah.
So I would say the relationship conversation comes between 2.5 to 3.5 months.
Right. Okay. So, let's name a girl. Okay. Let's me. Okay. I'm single. So I want to be taken serious.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to move in a way where I don't want to be that girl who comes off like, I want to get married. I'm getting older. Like,
Yeah.
But I want to obviously like be intentional with dating.
Right.
So how do you think I should move? I go on a date with a guy. Like, how should I say on a first date? Like, this is what I want. Should I communicate? Like how should I move?
Yeah, no, I think I think on the first or second date, you should. Okay, did you meet this guy on a dating app or did you meet him in person? Because that makes a difference. 'Cause on a dating app, if your thing
Is it different?
Because if on a dating app, your thing would say looking for a relationship. So then he would have some context to that. But let's assume you maybe you met him out.
Really,
Okay.
I feel like guys on dating apps.
They don't care. They don't fucking care.
They
So
don't
I don't know
fucking
what I'm
care.
talking
I
about.
don't know what you.
So all right, so let's say
Same shit.
Same shit. Let's say you met him out in person, and on the first or second date, as just like the flow of conversation goes, like we're not gonna stop.
Is it too much on a first date to be like, this is what I'm
You
looking
have to. It's about how you deliver the information.
Okay.
Right? If you like halt the conversation and say, well, what are your intentions? And he's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, well, I want to get married, bitch. Like,
yeah,
so if you do
it comes
something,
off aggressive.
you don't want to be aggressive with it, but you do want to say what your intentions are, what you're looking for.
Yeah.
You know, it's not super aggressively, but you actually want to do more listening to what he has to say.
And then you'll gather.
And then you'll
that.
gather information, right? It's so that's why I say like with women, it's just like observing and gathering information. You know
Right.
what you want. You know, it's figuring out what his objective is. And guys will tell on themselves.
But the thing is like guys will, even if they're not looking for something, they will still say a
Right.
lot of times.
They
like,
will.
Yeah, no, if the right, and I hate that. If the right girl comes along, then yeah, I'd be so open.
Right,
To it.
but then
and
they're-
it's like that. Even that sentence tweaks me a little bit.
But then their actions over time will prove otherwise, that you're not that person then.
Yeah.
So it's like, I can't, is there people who like, oh, I just met this guy a week ago, blah, blah, blah. Like, what's going on here? I'm like, we actually don't have enough context to know. You have to, because what ends up happening is like, if somebody starts to kind of back off a little bit, a lot of women think, I need to force the issue. I have to text him. I have to ask him out. And then once you do that, you just fucked it up, because now we don't have a gauge as to what he is doing. You get what I mean? Like you're ruining the experiment.
Right.
You're tampering with the evidence.
Right.
Because you need to see.
You want to see how he moves.
You want to see how he moves without any like input from you, without you like trying to facilitate a date or talking. But
Right.
I say this, like, men should do 70% of the communication as far as initiating texting, women 30%. You can't sit back and expect to never text a guy first. You have to text them first. sometimes.
When should a girl
After 2 weeks of consistent, he's boom, 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 doing things the right way.
Okay. And,
So, like-
and what should a text be? Hey, thinking of you. Like what should it be?
I think the best way to do it is like maybe a little funny callback to like some like joke you guys are having on the
Okay.
date, because like texting in the first month or so should be fun, flirty,
Yeah.
joking around.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be getting to know each other really through texts, but like the best texting in the early stages is you guys are going out on dates, you're having a good time, you're laughing, you have these inside jokes now,
Right.
and you want to build on those inside jokes, because that's what makes you feel close to somebody.
Yeah.
When you joke around and you have these inside jokes.
True.
So it's like, I always say, like, kind of fall back on those types of things
Okay.
to try to like,
Also, it doesn't come off like
yeah,
like,
doesn't come across super needy or like
Right.
trying to get them to text you back. It's just kind of just having fun with it. And that's really what
Yeah.
texting should be. It's about like having fun, maintaining comfort,
Yeah.
and setting up the next dates. After
it.
time goes on, like, okay, if you've been dating this guy for 2-3 months, okay, now we're texting all day. We could text like whatever.
And from that, how do you, I want a
Okay.
relationship with this guy now. We've been doing everything right. We've been seeing each other once a week. It's been a month. We
Okay.
just had sex.
Yep.
We're obviously vibing. You want to start communicating like, look, what are we? Should a girl initiate that or should that always come from a guy?
Woman needs to initiate it.
Oh, yeah?
Because
Fuck, I don't want to initiate.
I know this is
I want you to want me.
it sucks, but at the end of the day, like, this is your dating life and you want to have the control over it. When you don't bring that up as a woman, you're relinquishing all of that control.
And you want to
you're
show that
waiting.
you respect yourself.
Yes.
And someone who respects themselves is always going to want to put boundaries in place. Like, look,
Yeah.
like, I'm obviously having a good time here. This is what I want. I just want to see where you're at.
Yes.
Because if not, like, this is what I'm looking for, and I don't want to waste my time or yours.
Perfect.
Boom. He's obsessed.
You should, right. You should have that that first conversation like that, where it's said a little bit more like concrete like that, should come around a month and a half. And that's typically where people would be like, oh, we're exclusive, right? Like, we're no longer dating other people. We're exclusive. And that exclusive period then probably lasts for a month, because that's a very short period. And then we're boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah.
But like a month and a half, and if you've already slept together, or if you want to wait to sleep with him until you have this conversation, that's fine too. Just some guys, like, this is the thing. You're going to risk losing guys. And you guys have to be okay with guys
and
walking.
that's fine, though. If you're looking for your person,
Right.
you know that, like, not everyone is going to fit the criteria,
Right.
you know?
Right. That's it. It's just like, guys are going to walk when you do have these boundaries and standards for yourself, as far as not allowing guys to get too close to you too early on, and like knowing when to have these conversations. Like I said, the first one is like within the first 2 dates, you kind of just talk about what you're looking for and just kind of hear what he has to say and just take it in. Then by a month and because there's no reason to have such an intense conversation on a first or second date,
Like,
because
chill,
you
have
don't know,
fun.
because you don't know each other
You don't even
yet.
know if you want him.
You don't even know if
Always
you
change
want
the
him.
script. Like, it's not, oh, does he
I
want to
say that
date
all the
me?
time.
Does he want to date me? No.
Do
I
you
want to
date him?
date him?
And that early on, neither person should know the answer to that.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you want to talk about it, but you're talking about it in sort of like a loose, lighter sense,
Right.
because you don't really know each other. It's just like hypothetical.
Yeah.
Then after between a month and a half, you have an idea of like if you would want to be with this person.
Right.
So that's when it should be more of a serious conversation.
And also, there's a chance that you might tell him, like, look, I don't want to waste your time, my time. I'm having fun. Like, I'm not really seeing other people.
Right.
Like, I like this. There's a chance he walks away.
Yep.
But there's also a bigger chance he comes back.
Yeah. Or
You know,
or
'cause
just
he's like,
doubles
maybe
down.
got scared. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there's the chance that, like, he'll come back. But, like, you can't be there if he's, like, not giving you what you want.
Right.
You know?
Right. And then come the
And then when he comes back, you probably don't even want him.
yeah, right, honestly.
Next.
And then around 2.5 to 3.5 months, like when it feels like it's time to have the what are we conversation, the biggest thing that I always say when it comes to that is don't have that conversation until he already feels like he's your boyfriend. If he does not feel like your boyfriend, having that conversation is not going to make him go, oh, well, it's time for me to step up to the plate and do it now.
Right.
No, if he wasn't
Feel the
doing it,
vibes.
that conversation is not going to make him do it. So it would almost be a little bit of a different conversation, because I always say the trajectory of a relationship should always be a positive one. There should never be a pullback and where it goes down, up and down, up and down. It should, from date number 1 to boyfriend and girlfriend, it should be positive. Only positive. Maybe you have a little tiff in there, one or two little arguments or whatever, but that's normal. People getting to know each other and our quirks or whatever, but it should always be positive. So by the time 3 months comes and it feels like you guys are super close, what I say is like a really cute way to kind of facilitate this, because guys, like I said, the kiss of death for guys is being too needy. So a guy doesn't want to be too needy. So a lot of guys are looking for, like you said, the cues from a woman to know that it's safe to progress things. Right. So what I would like to say is, like, around 3 months or so, set up a plan to like meet maybe some friends that he hasn't met yet or something like that. Like some sort of activity you guys are going out to. And I always say, like, a cute way to kind of bring up this conversation, do it on a night where you guys are out, you're having a great time. Vibes are high. Vibes need to be super high at this point. Say something like, oh yeah, we're going to meet so-and-so. And he's like, oh great. And he's like, I don't know what to introduce you as. I'm like, I don't know.
Right.
And then he'll be like, oh, like, what do you mean? He's like, I don't know. Are you like my friend?
Right.
I don't know. And like, obviously you guys have been together for a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's going to lend itself to this cute conversation.
For sure.
That
But the time will, right. But sometimes I feel like guys are so the type to just make you meet the friends right away. And like as girls, they'll be like, well, he made me meet his friends. He must be.
That doesn't.
Girls, it doesn't mean shit.
It doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
It's like, it depends on the guy. And that's the thing about this. It's like, it's really all dependent on the type of guy and like.
Let's get into long distance relationships.
Okay, well,
because you had a hot take on that. We have like 5 minutes left. I want to get into a few more.
Let's do it.
Okay, so long distance relationships. You had a hot take that I actually really agreed with, and I think a lot of girls can like relate to and benefit from this. So you were basically saying how when you're talking to a guy and he's long distance, he should always come and see you first.
Period.
He
needs to get on that flight and come to wherever you are first.
And I always say this because a guy, yeah, he wants to fly you out. What does it take? He goes on he books a flight for you. It's no effort. He's sitting on his couch. Okay, a guy can have money. Even a guy who doesn't have much money can just like book a flight.
Money isn't, to a guy like that, money isn't effort.
Yeah.
It's harder. The more effort is actually him packing a suitcase, booking a flight for himself, going to the airport at 6 o'clock in the morning, waiting around. Like that is effort. Him going on Expedia and just booking you a flight and sending you the information. That's a guy who's willing to spend $1,000 or whatever. But like,
but as a girl, sometimes you get excited. You're like, wow, he really wants to see
it doesn't mean anything.
Doesn't mean
especially
shit.
To a guy that has the money to do it. It's not, it's just like,
you're just one of the week.
You're just one of the girlfriend for the weekend. And that's what will end up happening. You'll be the girlfriend for the weekend.
Yeah.
You come in, you have this amazing time, you sleep with him, and then you go back, you don't hear from him. Where if he comes to see you first, you know, okay, this guy just put in the effort to come see me. At the very
Also, you're on your territory.
And I always say that, like, you want a guy that is considerate. He's considerate and wants to make you feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So him coming to you shows a consideration that, like, I'm not going to bring this girl out to where she doesn't know where she is and she's totally relying on me. I'll go to see her. Like, and I'll pay for all the dinners and stuff. She might have to help me book some things because I don't know her area.
Right.
But I'm considerate and I want her to feel comfortable, and I'm showing the effort by coming to you first. Right. And then the next time you can go to him. But like, that is super important that he needs to come to you first. I'm telling you, every single long distance scenario I hear about that doesn't work out, she is always going to see him first.
And what are your thoughts on long distance? Like, does there need to be a plan in the next 6 months that like someone's moving somewhere? Like, how do we make sure that like we're not wasting our time?
I think, well, hot take. I think long distance relationships are a huge waste of time because most relationships, not to be pessimistic, don't work out. So, but the problem with long distance is that a lot more time goes by because you don't know a person until you've spent, in my opinion, enough quality in-person time with them. So the trajectory of a long distance relationship, in my opinion, is twice as long as a close proximity relationship. So instead of 3 months, like it'd take 3 months to be boyfriend and girlfriend, maybe more like 6 to 8 months, only if the consistency of seeing each other and that cadence stays the same. So let's say we're like a 3-hour flight away from each other. Like you're dating somebody who lives in like Miami or something like that, right? Like you would need to be seeing this person every month and a half. Like you go to see him, he comes to see you, boom, boom, for 6 months. So you saw each other 5-6 times. By that point, we're official. But then it's just like you said, like, what's the plan? Is he going to move to see me? Am I going to move to him?
Yeah.
It's like, these are things that you have to really think about before even investing in talking to somebody long distance, because it's such a tricky scenario that typically just always ends pretty bad. So it's like, it's just one of those things that you really need to think like, is this actually worth it for me at my age, where I am in life? Like, does this actually make sense for me?
Thoughts on situationships?
Thoughts on situationships. It's like, if you're cool with it, that's fine. If you're cool with casually hooking up with somebody, that's great. But you have to be honest with yourself. If you are catching feelings for this person, you need to cut it off. If he has,
or tell them,
it's not going to change, because if you're already in a situationship, that means that it's been casual.
Right.
So it's like you're already fucked. You're cooked. Like it's done. So you have to end it, because a guy will never end it. Why would he end it if he's able to hook up with you once every 2 weeks and it's great and he barely texts you and it's cool?
Right.
A guy will never end that until he finds somebody better.
Right.
So it's up to you to end the situationship if you're not getting out of it
what you want.
So you just have to be honest with yourself. Am I developing feelings? Yes, I got to end it.
Do you think someone always catches feelings in a situationship?
Someone more than some people. One person will more than the other.
Yeah.
But there's like a threshold that once it passes that, it needs to end.
Yeah.
Because someone's going to start getting really too emotional about it. But that's my tip for situationships is just like, it's great. Like, I'm not saying everyone needs to go out here looking to be in a relationship. If you want to be casual and have a good time, like that's great. But you have to be honest with yourself, because getting attached to a situationship guy will lead you to wasting a lot of time, because this guy is now going to live rent-free in your brain, and it's going to stop you from being able to meet the person who you potentially would want to meet.
Right.
So then you'll just be obsessed with this guy for 2 years, and it's not going to go anywhere, and it's going to stop you from meeting the guy that you want. So you just have to be honest with yourself and how you're feeling.
Last question. Should a guy pay on a first date? I always ask this.
1,000%.
You're like, I'm literally the daddy. You gotta be like
1,000%. The man should pay on the first date. Hands down.
And do you think that it should be dinner or drinks?
So if you guys knew each other a little previously, like say maybe you met in person, like at a bar or something, and then he asks you out, in that case, I think dinner's great, because you know that it's going to be good because you already met in person, where dinner with a complete stranger who you've never met before is a little risky, because now you're sitting across the table.
That's actually so true, because I say I'm not doing drink dates. Like, you either take me serious, but it's true. Like, I don't want to waste my time. You don't want to waste yours if we've never met.
Yes, and what if you sit down across the table for dinner and you hate your life? So that's why I say the perfect first date is nice cocktails at a nice lounge, maybe some appetizers, moody lighting, some some stuffed olives, some martinis, like a romantic drinks, not Finnegan's Pub. Don't take a girl to Finnegan's Pub. You want to take her to a nice swanky lounge. That is that in my opinion, that's the best first date. And then if that went really well, date number 2 could be dinner.
Okay.
But if we met in person and I already know that we have a vibe, then you could go dinner first date.
100%.
Because it just makes more sense, because you already have a vibe between the two of you.
Right. No, that's actually such a good point. But I feel like now, even if I'm talking to a guy from a dating app, I would want to be on FaceTime. I want to just see the vibes. I don't want to waste my time if we don't even vibe.
That's a lot of people say that. My thing with doing a FaceTime prior to a first date is okay, if you really want to do it just to make sure you're safe and you feel fine, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But what if you do have a really good vibe with this guy, and now your story of the first time you met this guy is on FaceTime? It's kind of it kind of ruins the potential magic of what dating is.
But also, if I'm dating with intention, I don't want to waste my time, spend an hour getting...
But to me, that ruins it.
Fair.
Dating is about that. It's the
unknown.
magic.
You don't
it's the
know.
unknown. It's throwing yourself out there and obviously
fair.
do the proper vetting.
Yeah.
I would actually prefer, instead of a FaceTime, a phone call. I don't want you seeing each other's faces. I'd rather you just call him on the phone, quick 5-10 minute phone call, if that, and just to get a vibe off of how are you talking.
Yeah.
I actually think a better way.
More guys would want to do that to see if they're getting catfished, I guess. But
that's, I don't know, that's kind of dumb to me. But I would say a good way around it, where what guys should do is say we met on a dating app or something and get each other's number, a little voice message. His first text to you should be a voice memo. Just
personal.
A little personal. So oh, okay, I get
we know each other.
We kind of know each other. All right. Because then you wouldn't want to get on you probably wouldn't be as inclined to get on a FaceTime because you're starting to feel, okay, this is what our vibe is.
Yeah.
So
that makes total
sense. It's about building comfort. I always say that men need to, in the early stages, and as far as the texting leading up to the dates, to the first date very particularly, need to build the proper amount of comfort that the woman feels comfortable going out on a date with you.
Right,
if you don't feel comfortable, you're not going to fucking go. Yeah. So you need to act appropriately and make her feel comfortable that, hey, if I go out on a Saturday night with this guy, it's not going to be dangerous. It's I know this guy, I got a good vibe. It's going to be a good time. I'm comfortable. I want to go.
I love it. I love it. Niko, thank you so much for coming on. Your vibe is amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Your advice is so amazing. You're coming back on my podcast.
Let's do it.
Also, you need to start a podcast immediately.
It's
I don't know
coming
what
soon.
the fuck you're doing.
It's in the works. It's coming.
I'm so happy you came on. I'm so happy to connect, and you're going to help a lot of girlies and hopefully guys who are listening to this.
I'm trying.
So thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Let's do it again soon.
Yes.